Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here with my friend Clint again. We have collabed a lot. I think that's my last two videos for you. Were they? I think they
I
were.
think so, except for the solo ones you did. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot what you. No, yeah, Reddit cringe, TikTok cringe, to be more precise. That's not fun. It's probably fun for people who watch it, but I almost vomited 3 times. Like there was just
Yeah,
things
it was
like
pretty good.
it's the furries. I'm a bigot towards furries. I don't care. Like I'm not a bigot towards anything else. I think furries are less than. Um, so it's a safe thing to be bigoted against. You can't get canceled. But you didn't almost get canceled. You were a part of this discussion. I was gonna have a panel, but nobody wanted to talk about it. It's a very hot button thing, or they just don't like my face. It's one of the two, but I want to go with the other one. Um, we were gonna talk about it. Then it turns out it was a huge hoax. That this woman has been repeatedly going on GoFundMe saying that she was attacked or something happened and she has an allergic reaction to something. It looked off to me too when I first saw it because, like, I've seen people get hit in the face with a brick. There's blood, there's an open wound. So I never really spoke on it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to wait for the facts. But it was something, the salient point, regardless of if she's faking or not, there is a huge discussion about should men step in and protect the woman they see in harm. And you have this controversial take, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get locked up for it. I won't have the money to bail you out. You think that a man should step in to protect the woman even if he doesn't know who she is.
Just to kind of set the stage about how I've been feeling about this past week. It's actually been longer than a week now, I think. I want you to imagine that you and your significant other, you go to this restaurant
Mm.
and she likes the food, but you think that this is awful. This is the worst food you've ever eaten. You were raised in a household where you eat everything that's on your plate. You don't let anything go to waste. You have to eat it all. She starts to get full, so she starts taking her fork and putting stuff on your plate,
Mm.
scraping it on. And you just have to keep eating this food that you don't want to eat.
Right.
That's what it's been like for me. It's just been a constant shit sandwich with new layers put on it. Every day that I wake up, there's new pieces of this.
Mm.
Because yesterday I woke up and now there is people claiming that calling it a hoax is a hoax, and they're trying to show the medical information of where the contusion happened and the doctors made a statement and all this other stuff. It's like it's the story that won't end.
It's a
And
story
it's
that doesn't end.
exactly, it just keeps going and going and going. And my controversial take was that it didn't matter what happened.
Mm.
What mattered was is all these guys immediately after it happened. They did TikTok lives. They
Hmm.
did YouTube videos. They did breakdowns on TikTok where they were basically saying, we will never step in and help a woman that we don't know.
Yeah, I
And
found that kind of weird.
I've lost friends over this. I have lost people that I've been following since pretty much I started TikTok. Um, I know that you've had your outs with a couple of them. I am no longer associated with those people either.
Right.
But it revealed, especially the female creators who are like MRAs and like advocate for men who were
Hmm.
saying the same thing.
You know why they're
And
saying that though, right? Because
it's
their
to wow,
audience. Well, it's
yeah.
audience. Yeah.
And they revealed themselves because I was in a live with one, not actually in the live, but I was in the comments and she was arguing with me. This is one that you've had issues with in the past.
Well, I've had
I should
issues
have
with a
known
lot of
better.
people.
Yeah, well, this is the one that needs to watch when she's lighting her cigarettes. But anyway,
Okay. All right.
so and her and basically two of her little helpers were pretty much just on me while I was trying to make my point. And I just realized that a lot of these people, it's been revealed to me that they're doing this for clout and validation, and for no other reason.
Hmm.
So my controversial take is that we used to have this. I don't want to say obligation. This is like, this goes down to like the base level of biology, at least in my opinion.
Mm.
This is where we're supposed to be the protectors. And several women were even saying, and I agree with them, how can you expect to be the leader of your household, the leader of a community? How can you expect women to basically submit to you? And I know they're using that word the wrong way. How can you expect all that when you won't even do these basic things that are expected of a man? And maybe that's controversial. I don't know.
Going to hell. No.
Yeah.
It's my take on it is this. There is a risk assessment and a risk analysis anytime you put yourself in danger. Now, I think there are some situations where it would be tantamount to suicide to intervene. Like if it's a group of people, if there's weapons, if you're unarmed, it's just complete, pure, and utter chaos. I think the best thing to do is do what you can with what you have. But if you don't have the ability to defend yourself, like realistically, I would like to say, okay, if I saw five guys pushing a woman around, I would say something, but I'd be really full of myself if I thought I could take all five guys at once. You should de-escalate the situation as much as possible. You should try to limit, you call the police. But I think if it's like one guy or two guys and a woman's being assaulted, you have more of a chance to go in there and get the job done and all that. But I think, me personally, I think that men should do something if they see something. Like, don't get yourself killed, but do what you can with what you have to save this person.
And that's what I've been
Yeah.
saying since my original video. I told people, I'm not saying you got to be Superman and rush in and do something physically. If
Right.
you are incapable or unwilling to do something physically, you could at least get a hold of the authorities. And then people wanted to turn it on her. Let's talk about this through the scope of her telling the truth. I know that, this is a hoax, and then there's other people saying it's not, whatever. But let's look at it
Yeah, I
through
don't
the
even
scope
know
of her
anymore.
telling the truth. Right. That's what I'm saying, man. It's just a shit sandwich that won't stop. It's like a Subway foot long. But
Yeah.
it let's look through that lens. Like, this is the truth.
Right.
You could have called the authorities. You could have caused a distraction. Even if you didn't want to get physically involved, like tackle the guy or anything. I'm not even saying that. From the story that was told, they were egging each other on.
Right.
He was yelling at her, she was yelling at him, and she was basically insulting him, and he was already insulted because his advances were rejected, which, by the way, fellas, we got a major problem with that. That's a
Mm-hmm.
topic for another day. We got to learn how to take rejection. Um,
Absolutely.
but she was egging him on, basically insulting him, and then he got fed up, picked up the brick, and then hit her with it. This is the story.
Yeah.
So, in a situation like that, let's say I was there. I would have, at the very least, gone up to the guy as he's getting agitated before he's even picked up the brick and said, "Hey, man, let's go get a beer real quick.
Right. De-escalate.
Let's get out of here." She'd be behind me insulting and, "Oh, what are you getting?" and doing her thing, because this woman's an agitator. She's like known for this.
Mm-hmm.
This
Oh
is
yeah.
what her content is. It's all she does.
Right.
Hey, man, let's go get a beer. Go hang out real quick. And de-escalate. It doesn't have to be that necessarily, but I never said you have to get into a fight, get yourself locked up, get yourself in the hospital. I never said any of that. Just do something. But these guys, because this was a big public area and there were plenty of witnesses, that part is not disputed. There were witnesses everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And the club had surveillance cameras. So I'm thinking to myself, all these guys are standing around with their thumbs up their asses doing nothing. And to me, and maybe this is sexist for me to say, I don't know. To me, it offends me more that there were men standing around doing nothing instead of women.
Right.
I don't know. And then there's the guys come up, well, the first thing she did after it happened was pull out her phone and start filming. You don't do that. People, you would be surprised what you would do when the adrenaline's going.
Oh, tons of things.
Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah, I never even got that from your videos. I never thought for 1 second you were advocating for like men to sacrifice their lives. I think the only women I would be willing to sacrifice my life for is like my sister, my fiance, my daughter, my family. Um, but I mean, who's not to say like if in the moment I saw someone like their life is about to be lost and I'm pretty much the only person that could prevent it, I may lose my life, but it just depends on how you feel in the moment. Like, do you want to risk your life to save somebody else's? And I think some people do that. There's people who do it all the time, firefighters, police officers, all that stuff. It's really up to the individual. I never felt like you were like condemning men for not, taking 50 bullets to the chest. Like I never got that from your stance. I think
It's like, no, I just said do something. Don't just stand there and watch and film because people were filming too. Because that's what we do now. We immediately grab this
mm.
and we begin filming.
Well, there was a bunch of guys there too. Like that's what, if it is true and that's what happened, there's multiple men there. Like if you have a group of men against one guy, like I was saying before, hard chance the one guy is going to take off. You're not Jean-Claude Van Damme. You're not going to take 5 guys down. It's just not going to happen. So I've seen the sentiment of like, well, women want equality. Women want to be, they act like men, so let's treat them like men. Let's show them what it is. Okay, well, even then, you're going to let a group of people dictate what reality actually is. Yes, they want equality, but that does not mean that there is not different, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not different standards, right? Women will always be people that I view that should be protected. And it sounds sexist to say, you can't even, like, I know a feminist would even get mad at this. Women are weaker. They're physically weaker. I could, with the flu, fuck up at least 5 women. It's not even funny. And I'm just an average guy. Women are fragile when it comes to, like, if you put a woman against a man, the man's going to win 9.5 times out of 10. It's just going to happen. So if you see a woman,
It was all these guys saying with their whole chest, as the kids would say, that they would not help anyone like that. And there's 2 pieces to that really bother me. Number one, you would be in the emergency room with your wife or daughter, whoever it is, upset that nobody else stepped in and helped before this escalated to the point that she got assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
Not willing to do that. But then you're going to get upset if it happens to somebody that's in your family. The second piece to that is that the reason why we have all these agitators and people that act crappy in public and do things like this is because they know in their mind nobody's going to do anything. And if you want to get rid of this stuff, if you want to stop it and prevent it, we have to start agreeing on what's a moral society and lead towards that instead of doing what we're doing now. And you know what, Justin? Maybe it's my fault. People like me. Maybe it's people like me who hold on to these, immoral things, like violent and mature entertainment and adult entertainment and stuff like that, because I'm in the sewage pipe as civilization is going further down into the sewer. I'm in the pipe and I'm holding a bunch of shit and I'm saying, well, these turds are okay. With all that smellier shit. Maybe I need to be like a born again Christian. I don't know, because if I can't convince people of the morality of stepping in when somebody is about to be victimized, then what hope is there?
Well, I think it's a culture shift where it's going to self-correct. Now, the reason I know this is because it's happened throughout millennia. There are people like, hey, we're going to subset tradition. We're going to push that aside. We're going to introduce this new shit because it makes our taints tingle when we think about it. So we're going to try it out. And then what happens is that it doesn't work. That empire falls. And then we go right back to square one. It's a never-ending cycle. So we're in the midst of trying out the new shit. We're really like, oh man, this is cool. We're liberated. We can film putting things up our butts and get paid for it. What a time to be alive. But eventually, the mindsets that all of this new things are creating, it's going to fall. It's going to crumble, and it has to. I think we can do our best to prevent it, but there are just so many people who don't see it that, yeah, it's bleak. It's going to crumble, and then we'll go back to where we used to be, traditional wise. But I don't think I just said something very bleak, but that doesn't mean we have to throw away our standards and our morality. Yeah, most people may not agree with us or like be like, no, but okay, that's them. We don't have to fall in line. Like I'm on board with you with this. It's fucking crazy. Like if you're seeing a woman getting assaulted, you need to try to prevent it somehow. Like, yeah, you may not know who she is. She may not be sleeping with you in particular, but I mean, that's someone's daughter, man. Like ever since I became a dad, you know, like I've always had this thought, but it's even more prevalent now. Like the thought of anyone hurting her makes me murderous. I think violent thoughts of what I would put someone through if anyone hurt her. So, but
Yeah,
someone thinks, yeah, someone thinks of the girl that you're seeing and hypothetically getting assaulted and you're not doing anything. Yeah, that's someone's daughter, and he's going to be just as furious. So why, like, yeah, don't get yourself killed. But if you can safely de-escalate a situation and save someone from not even just death, even just getting hurt physically, like if you can stop that, why not? What would stop you?
Even doing the thing that I said, if you could at least like try to de-escalate and talk to the guy, like I mean, do something.
Mm.
But they're not willing to do that. They're not willing to do that, and that's what I was talking about. And I made a video on my channel about this, about the fourth turning. This is where we're at now. Like you mentioned, we're at the stages of the fall of the empire. This country, as it exists now, is not going to continue.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's getting worse every day, and you could see that just every time you wake up and you flip the television on and look at the news. We're not heading in the right direction. Now, I know there's a lot of manipulation and a lot of lies and stuff in mainstream media,
Right.
but you can see that people are unhappy.
Well, proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, and we're in that fourth turning of the weak men creating hard times, and it's going to take strong men to stand up and stop it or go into the new era, I guess, as, you know, setting up a new civilization pretty much. I mean, that's where we're at, because to me, that's weak. It's weak men that cannot have the integrity to know that, like, when something's about to happen, do something. I'm not saying be physical, but do something to de-escalate or stop it.
Mm.
And it's also weak to allow strange feminists that you don't know, whose sole purpose is to agitate and get under the skin of men and cause problems online, allow them to change your morality.
Mm-hmm.
For you to sit on a TikTok video and say, well, they said they wanted to be independent. They said they wanted to be equal. That is some weak men shit. And I'm sorry, but everything that they say about you is 100% right if you believe that.
And you know, women don't say what they actually mean. No, I'm joking. But I use this example, and it's a perfect example. What if we had a group of children, minors, who were saying dumb shit online? Well, it's not a hypothetical. It's true. They say a lot of dumb shit. Are you then going to say, if you see like a 10-year-old being kidnapped or being hit by their parent, or, you know, just something terrible happening to them because of another human being, you're going to say, well, just because kids are full of shit nowadays, what's the use? No, that's a child. You know, it doesn't matter what they believe in. If you see a child being harmed, you should do something about it. It's the same thing with women. It's the same thing with men. Like if there's a guy being jumped, you know, yeah, don't get your ass kicked with them, but do something to like either distract the people, call the police, do something. Like doing nothing in times of crisis, that is the definition of cowardly. That, I mean,
Yep.
It's the perfect definition. I don't even have to look it up. To do nothing when you could, when you probably should, and you choose not to, that is cowardly. And this whole alpha, like Chad, Giga Chad, like, oh, you know, women asked for this. It doesn't matter if they asked for it or not. They shouldn't be physically harmed unless they are causing physical harm. Like I've said, the only way I would ever hit a woman is if I saw her like sexually abusing a child or hitting a child. I would drop kick her into the moon. I would not allow that to happen. But it's this mindset of, yeah, they say they want independence. Okay, men want independence too. That doesn't mean I want to get my ass kicked and then nobody fucking help me. I'm an independent man. I make my own money. I do my own shit. I'm truly free. I don't want to get my ass kicked and nobody help me if I'm not able to defend myself. You know, I thought, yeah, we're all different people, but used to, it's on a larger scale, but smaller scale, we used to live in tribes and villages where everybody protected each other. Now it's gotten so huge that we just have this, oh, I'm a lone wolf, I'm a cowboy. No, not you. You're the right kind of cowboy. You're Arthur. Got TB, Dutch. I got the black lung, Dutch. But no, it's yeah, I get it. It's, you know, it's a crazy world out there. There's some people that are not worth protecting, but that's not the majority of people. It can't be the majority of people. You know, you're letting a few bad eggs ruin the fucking Thanksgiving, and now you're not going to make deviled eggs anymore. You know, it makes no sense.
All it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. I quoted that a lot this past week.
Shit, yesterday was 9/11, and there was so much unity around that time. There was like, hey, I don't give a shit if you're Republican, Democrat, whatever. Hey, we're a fucking Americans, and we got to stick together. And then slowly but surely, we just ended up forgetting about that. Like, that doesn't matter anymore.
There were a group of passengers on a plane who knew what was going to happen, knew that more innocent lives, they knew they were done. There was nothing they could do about themselves, but they knew more innocent lives were going to be ended. They took it upon themselves to charge the cockpit and cause the plane to wreck before they got there.
Yeah. That's the true definition of bravery. Like, they didn't have to do that. I wouldn't even have gotten mad at them if they didn't. You know? Because, like, it's okay, you're dead anyways. Why try? But that's the definition of bravery. Knowing that you are going to most likely not make it out of it, but you want to do something to lessen the harm. And it is weak men. Like, these guys present themselves like they're jacked. You know, they got 8 packs and a dick tip that touches their ankle bone. I mean, they're fucking masculine men, but they say some of the most, in their definition, beta shit that I've ever heard. Like, how can you present yourself as a masculine man and then say, oh yeah, I'll just let a woman get beat up? Because she probably thinks that, you know, it's all men. She's probably a feminist. Okay, then. What does that have to bear on anything? Nothing.
That's why, you know, they always say there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's only toxic people, right? Because there's toxic anybody. It doesn't matter if they're masculine or not. But my definition, because it's up for grabs, of what toxic masculinity is the absence of it.
Oh, dude, I agree 100%. It's the absence of masculinity. Because a strong man doesn't go into a school and shoot up a bunch of kids. A strong man doesn't do that. A weak man does. Only weak men, just because he's doing something violent and causing a lot of destruction, people think, oh, that's a lot of power. No, that is a man who is weak, that feels like he has no power, no meaning, and he wants to make the rest of the world suffer. That is a weak man. Hitler was a weak man. Yeah, he had a whole army. He killed a bunch of people. He was still a weak man. He was compensating for how weak he was. So it irks me. It does make me mad. I'm trying to mask my anger as much as I can, because, like, it got me in trouble a lot when I didn't. But it makes me furious that, like, dude, okay, I get it. Women are annoying. They can be really annoying. They can say one thing and mean another thing. I get it, bro. All right, I get it. But if you see her getting hit, if you don't stop it, you're a bitch. It makes no sense to me how you could rationalize, oh, I'm just not going to defend them. You know, I get it. It's a selfish world, and you got to survive. You got to, look out for your own. Yeah, but like, why not do the decent thing and help someone in need? Like that's what
Rise
true
above,
strength
man.
is.
Be the change. That's what I tell why do you have to do the thing that everyone else does? Because it's not right,
What's the easy way out?
Exactly.
It's very easy to espouse this type of rhetoric of like, be strong, be a man, Andrew Tate. But it takes a stronger man to say, you know what, in spite of what women say about me, in spite of how the world views me as a monster. Okay. If I act like one, I'm just proving them right. If I go ahead and behave the way they think that I behave just because I want to give up, okay, you're just proving them right. Be like, just like you said, be the change that you want to see. I don't care what women think about me. I truly don't give a shit. I already got somebody. I'm in it for life. I don't really care. But I know when the chips are down, when shit hits the fan, men like you and me, and that have these strict standards of what it is to be a man, we're going to be the ones that people turn to. And these giga chads that present themselves as masculine, they're going to be hiding in a corner, being a bitch. That's exactly what's going to happen. Mark my words. I hope it never happens. I hope the world doesn't collapse and we're fine and people just like get a grip and realize, oh, this is dumb. We should go back to how things were. Not the bad shit, but the shit that was actually good and beneficial. Let's get back to that before it goes. I don't see it happening. I have high hopes, but it's ridiculous, man.
Like they say, it is what it is.
Well, you just got so much shit, dude. It's not even... I was like, how is he getting this much shit? He's saying the correct thing. Not only the correct thing, the most correct thing that you could say in any sort of like high stakes argument. Because yeah, there was not just two sides, there were multiple sides to this whole entire story, different perspectives. Some people saying you can't even talk about this unless you're a person of color. Okay, then, well, shit, way to gatekeep a discussion.
The way that I discussed and like tried to go against that because I was being called racist for sticking my nose in it.
Oh,
because I was telling people this happens in every community. It's not just one. First of all, we're supposed to be one community, but all that aside,
yeah.
This happens with every race, everybody. This is an ongoing problem in our society. Men are starting to slide back against the stuff they normally would be doing because they're upset a particular group of women are not sleeping with them. That's what this all boils down to. That's it.
Yes. Why? Oh, hold on. I have to pretend to be mad at you. How could you say that? How could you say that? Hey, women, you see that I'm disagreeing with them? Touch it. Anyways.
Yeah.
So it's rather frustrating that we could solve so many problems. One, if some people just keep their mouths shut. Two, realize that maybe what you're fighting for is not worth fighting for. Maybe it's the need to want to be right. Like that you want to be correct so bad about something that you're willing to ignore everything just to get to that point of you want somebody to say that, oh, you're right and I'm wrong. There's simple, easy solutions. All it needs is conformity and the realization that things are not as complicated as we make them. There's complicated things out in the world. There is. But when it comes to, I can't believe I have to say this. When it comes to a woman being attacked publicly, you should prevent it. Try to stop it in the best way possible. Don't get yourself killed, but do what needs to be done the safest, most necessary way to de-escalate the violence. How that has become a controversial take, we'll never understand it.
Stop the mindset of I can't protect a woman I can't correct, and have the mindset of having the integrity to do it anyway.
That made me gag. I know that's not your actual sentiment, but the what you just said, what was it? If I don't have to protect a woman that doesn't what?
Like this is the thing that's going around now. I cannot protect a woman I can't correct. That's what they're saying. It's like, no, have the integrity to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do.
Okay, so like I know that's not what they're meaning, but like the real meaning behind that is that I think that's what I'm not saying I agree with it. In the context of a relationship, like if there's men who say like, well, if my girlfriend won't listen to me about how to dress and like who to hang out with and all that stuff, I don't need to protect her. Um, they bring in the security guard example. Like if you don't listen to your security guard, you're putting his life in danger. Which, okay, I guess makes sense, but you guys have to stop thinking you're security guards for Madonna. You're an average dude with an average life with a camera and a microphone. And you think that amplifies you into some important person. You're not that important, bro. If what you could be doing, saying that you're trying to correct them, and no, maybe you're just trying to control them. Like there are things that you should say, hey, baby, you probably shouldn't do this. You probably shouldn't go there. I heard this about this place. Maybe it's not safe. That's fine. And yeah, you technically can't protect a woman that won't listen to you and goes and does those things anyways, okay? Probably shouldn't be with that woman, right? But regardless, you don't have to be sticking your key in her doorknob just to be able to protect her. That's what it sounds like they're saying. Like, oh, if I'm not having sex with her, I'm not going to protect her.
I think what they're trying to say, like to me, there was always levels to this, and I said that unless she killed somebody, sexually assaulted somebody, or harmed a child in any way, there is no repercussion that should be slamming someone in the face with a brick. And for guys to stand around doing nothing, there's no way to reconcile that. How can you say that just because she gets on a platform and bashes men, creates skit video, and their skits, that was another thing I was trying to push to people. I understand that it's still wrong, but their skits where she's slapping guys in the face and then twerking, it does not mean that she deserves to have that happen to her. If it happened, again, it could be a hoax, it could not be, it could be, I don't care anymore, I'm done talking about it after this video.
I'm glad I got your last thoughts on it.
I just
exclusive.
Oh man, it's been stressful. And now I've got another layer of the shit sandwich. Is now I've got people that I used to follow that I no longer do now because of this, making jokes about it. And I have very dark humor. I think you know that. You've had me on your shows before.
Yeah.
I have dark humor, but there's sometimes a limit, especially with time. This is still fresh, and I've got creators who I wonder if I should even say their name, making videos where they're stitching women acting wild in public or they're being annoying or whatever, and then saying, where's the brick guy at?
Oh, that's garbage. That's
popular creators too that have a huge following and whose opinion I used to respect.
That's asinine, dude. That sucks. That's like there are some dark humor jokes that that are similar to that, which I don't believe in, but I can laugh at because of how absurd it is. That's not a joke what they're saying though. It's so fresh, so new. They're like saying, yeah, we probably need more brick guys because these women are acting insane. You can act like an idiot in public, rub ketchup all over your tits. You still don't deserve to be hit with a brick. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's people making merchandise and making money off of it now with bricks that say FAFO, fuck around and find out. They're making money off this now.
So if the story was true, fucking around means denying a dude his number or your number. That's fucking around?
Precisely.
See, like, that's the whole thing. Like, even if it is proven to be a hoax, the salient point, the narrative was a woman denied a phone number being given out and then she got hit with a brick. Just with that story alone, people were saying so many negative things about it. Like, dude, okay, women are allowed to say no to giving out their number. Like, that's a normal thing. It sucks for the guy that's getting turned down, but the response is not, oh, let me hit this woman in the face with a brick. It's go home and cry and touch yourself. That's the only response that you should have when you get turned down. Well,
That
not
was
the
even
only
what set
response.
me off. Just what set me off was all the guys doing nothing about it. That's what killed me, and then justifying it on their social media.
Well, if it's multiple men there, if it really happened, if there were multiple men there, like there's no excuse. It's not like you're one guy about to like put your life on the line. If you got 4 other dudes with you, you have a fucking army, pretty much. You could take that guy down and you could have even stopped it from happening in the first place. You could have ran at him when he had the brick in his hand and no man has a big enough hand except Brock Lesnar to hold a brick with good grip. You can knock it out of his hand. Like there's so many things you could do. But yeah, regardless if it actually happened or not, the reaction to the story as if it was true, that was abysmal. That was not cool.
That's where we're at, though, Justin.
I thought about playing devil's advocate with you and doing the opposite, but I already saw how much shit you were getting. I was like, no, I don't want him to think that. I don't want him to think that I'm on
I
that.
would have been okay. I would have been. I mean, I know you were trying to get like a whole panel, and that would have been great because I'm sure you would find people that disagree with me on this because a lot of them, their sentiment is, "I need to know this woman," and I'm like, "That's you don't need to know who someone is to know they need help."
Do you need to know who a 5-year-old is to stop him from getting put in a van? Do you need to know that 5-year-old boy? Right? It's that like when you challenge, like that's hopefully I can get a panel set up eventually because I do want to challenge some people on this. Like they're consistent in some ways, but inconsistent in others. I just think as a decent human being, if you have the ability to stop something bad from happening, use the power that you were given. Do something. Because now it's reaffirming to women, yeah, men don't give a shit about us. We are right about all men. Like they don't give a shit about our safety. They don't care. So now it's bringing more disdain towards men. Like men could have really stepped up and said, hey, all of us in agreement here, protect the woman when you see her getting attacked. But they didn't do that.
You talk about like giving ammunition to the opposition, dude. We fucking built a nuclear warhead and we put it on a boat like King Kong, tied it down, and we rode it across the ocean to the opposing side. We built an ICBM for these people. This is going to be the next 2 to 3 years of the topic. They're going to bring this up every time you try to tell them that men are not evil, that men are not vindictive, that men are not cowardly. They're going to bring this up.
Yeah, it's everyone's shooting themselves in the foot. Every side, the manosphere, the womansphere, feminism, maninist, they're all shooting each other in the foot. And I don't know, like personally, me, I don't have to deal with this. You don't have to deal with this. We have to deal with the topic being thrown around. And you're a very outspoken guy, and so am I. So we're going to talk about these things because we feel compelled to. And that's annoying. I wish I didn't care. I bet you probably wish you didn't care. But
I realize that all this stuff that I got going on, man, it's self-inflicted because I don't keep my mouth shut. I'm like, no, I'm going to say something about this because you're full of shit, and then I get in trouble for it.
Well, yeah, it is self-inflicted, but it's not something that should be inflicted on with any sort of negative connotation. Like you're saying the correct thing. You're saying the right thing, the most correct thing. Out of all the positions that people have on it, yours is the correct one. And people who think like you in this situation, they're having the same one as well, the same correct opinion. It's just people will say something because it feels good, and they think, oh, it made me feel good to say, so therefore it's correct. No, bitch. Just because it makes you feel good doesn't make it correct. What makes it correct is if it's factual and it aligns with the moral state of people, which you can't really measure that nowadays. But this is all online. Like real life people, like people that are not on the internet and all that stuff, they have the same opinion. Oh yeah, if I see a woman getting attacked, I'm fucking knocking that dude out. I don't care who he is. I'm gonna fucking barrel through him. That's the real world. Online, it's this. I'll say it because it feels good, and it's really bastardized opinions, real opinions, because you don't know if that person's saying it because they mean it or if they're saying it to an audience that if they don't say it that way, they'll lose the audience.
Exactly, and that's what it was all about, and that's why, like I said, I lost friends over this. I had to clean out my following list to get
Mm.
people out that I thought had good ideas, and it's like you and I have talked about time and time again. Nuance. Nobody has that anymore. It's either you're one side or you're the other.
Oh yeah, it's so cut and dry. Like, I think ultimately the only way that, well, I don't even know. I was about to say the only way to have a true conversation, have real opinions put out there, is if they're not on the internet. But it's impossible because, like, one, who's going to hear it? Two, it's going to be posted on the internet regardless. But I think coming at topics with a level head, the way that you have, yeah, you're going to get shit for it. But dude, you might get 50 people who hate you, but you might get 2 people that you change their mind. And that's a win. Like, if you could change 2 people's minds about how they feel about protecting people, that's a win. So I wouldn't get discouraged if you get a lot of haters about it. Cause
Oh
like,
man, I've undone like several months of recovery from acid reflux and stomach ulcers. Like,
ooh,
it's been a bad week,
I
man.
think I think I'm going through the early stages right now. I'm trying to do, like diluted, apple cider vinegar diluted with water.
There you go.
I'm going to follow in your footsteps because you look great, man. You look a lot healthier. You look a lot more. You look more trim. Those forearms could cut trees.
Well, I appreciate that. I can't see you. I've been staring at a blank screen this whole time, but
I'm squeezing your tits. No, I'm just fine. I actually physically did that, so you're gonna see it on YouTube of me like squeezing the air. No, but again, like, I'm glad we got to talk about this because I know it was bothering you, and it's okay to let things bother you, but at the same time, like, stick with the mission. I've been listening to your podcast at work, and I think there's actual value in what you have to say, and it is unpopular, but just because something's unpopular doesn't make it not true. So,
well, I appreciate that.
yeah, continue talking what you're talking about. Eventually, I need to get on your show, and you can start railing me in, seeing what my thoughts are on certain things. But what you've been talking about, it's needed. You know, it probably won't get you to Andrew Tate status of being that well known, but it's what I've discovered is that you want to be a best kept secret. You want this message eventually to be accepted by a bunch of people, but you have to start small, and that's where the real change goes, is the small changes that people decide to make, and then hopefully that it's a butterfly effect that affects other people. Yeah, continue doing that. I got my girls coming over here in a minute, but this was a good discussion. I'm glad you got to vent. Yeah, the salient point with this whole thing, the reason why I wanted to talk to you is, like, don't get discouraged. Keep talking what you're talking about, because it's needed now more than ever. So you're doing something correct.
Well, you've become my second therapist, so I appreciate that.
I'm a traumatized child, so yeah, I should be a therapist. No, that's not all therapists are like that. Just the one I had. But anyways, yeah, this has been Don't Panic. Hey guys, final message. If you see something, do something. Whether you're afraid or not, do something. Because you will live with regret for the rest of your life. If you could have prevented something bad from happening and you did nothing, that follows you. It follows. Any words, Clint?
Just think about if that was your wife or daughter in that emergency room.
Mm-hmm. That's the only way to think about it.
People to do. Exactly.
All right, man. Don't be bitches. Be brave. Have a good one.